All right, welcome to the Couch Coaches podcast, where we talk about everything that happened recently in the world of sports. And we have a special guest today, Sister Leslie, who is a Cowboys fan. So I'm going to give you the floor, and please discuss your thoughts on last night's game, please.
Last night's game was amazing, but it almost gave me a heart attack with the kicker. The kicker was like, you have but one job. That's you have one job. That's all we want you to do is go over there, stretch, and when you're up, kick, make it good, extra point. First time I thought it was a joke. Second time it was really not funny. Fourth time I'm like, why are we still asking for a field goal? Why aren't we going for two? And but other than that, I think that they played really, really well. Really, really well. It was a great game. Dak had an outstanding game, which I have to admit, before the game, I was questioning. I was like, okay, who am I going to get? What Dak am I going to get? and so that's not good at this point in the season.
No, as far as the kicker, I would be shocked if they don't bring a couple people in and try him out this week, because that dude was all in his head. Yes. And if that cannot carry over to this next weekend. I
agree. And I was even saying, don't we have a spare? And then I learned we don't have a spare. So I was asking that question. It can't. They have to have someone else.
Yeah, I mean, and luckily they just annihilated them on every level of that game. So it didn't even matter.
Right.
I mean, but man, it's a good thing that it didn't come down to a field goal, because everybody would have been crying on the Cowboys sidelines.
Right. But see, going into the game, when you're going up against Brady, you don't know that in the beginning of the game. You know, okay, you can go up a couple of scores. You know, it's 12-0. To me, that's like 12-12 because you have Brady and you don't know what he's going to do. So I was uncomfortable even when they went up, the third touchdown. I was still uncomfortable because Brady is just that good. You have to give it to him.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the commentators going into that game, a lot of what they were saying, the people that were choosing Tampa, it's like they didn't want to be honest with the fact that Tampa's played really bad this whole year.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was just Brady's legacy that they're like, oh yeah, I think Brady's going to come in and they're going to turn it around. And I figured the Cowboys would win. I didn't think it was going to be just top to bottom, just a complete butt whooping. The game was just, it was a horrible game. I mean, but the Cowboys played perfect.
Right.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. We'll take it.
All right. So I'm going to run through the games for this next weekend. I'm obviously super excited because football is my sport. So Deacon Greg, starting with you, Jacksonville at Kansas City.
That's pretty much a no-brainer for me. I'm going with Kansas City. I mean, Jacksonville, they pulled that game out. The Chargers had that game, which was crazy. And, we can get into what the Chargers did after firing their offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. But, yeah, the Chargers had that game in hand and ended up giving it away. But, I think the Chiefs is just going to be too much for them, too much offense. So I'm going with the Chiefs.
Brother Bill, how about you?
Kansas City by 2 touchdowns. I mean, the point spread is only 8.5 right now. That's just to get action, and that's just for all the betting. But Kansas City strengths, Mahomes obviously, they have weapons, and their running game, which I think has been underestimated all season because Mahomes gets so much attention. And I just don't believe that Jacksonville has their defense played well in the second half of the game against the Chargers. I don't believe for 60 minutes that defense can do enough to keep the game close. And Kansas City, unless Kansas City does something uncharacteristically and start turning the ball over, I mean, that turnover is always a big equalizer in playoff games. Unless that happens, I just see Kansas City winning, going away.
Sister Leslie.
Yeah, I would have to go with Kansas City, even though I really like Trevor Lawrence. I like him. I think that he's relentless and he just played to the end. But I think Mahone and the experience, and yeah, the offense will dominate.
Yeah, I think between just Andy Reid being the coach
Yeah.
that he is not the Chargers coach. Which when I saw that they fired the OC and they're keeping the head coach, I'm like, so it's so frustrating because it's like I feel like I'm watching the Colts do what they did with Andrew Luck like all over again. You have this phenomenal quarterback, you have great receivers, you have a really strong defense, and you're letting this knucklehead that can't run the ball and just run the clock out let Jacksonville hang around. Oh, it was killing me. But I'm all Kansas City. I think Kansas City is the best team in the AFC, health wise, and just the structure of the team. All right, next, Brother Bill, I'm gonna start with you. The Giants at the Eagles.
If I was a betting man, I would choose Philadelphia to win the game. But they say styles make fights, and the style that the Giants were able to play on offense. I mean, I believe that they could beat Minnesota just because Minnesota's been playing with they've been playing with fire all season, always close games. And but Daniel Jones, I think I said in our podcast last week, who did you trust more, Daniel Jones or
Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins. And we found out the answer was Daniel Jones. He made the plays that he needed to make. But I just think that Philadelphia is the better team, even though, and they're being at home. I just don't believe that. Sometimes I think that home field advantage is a little bit overrated because the championship teams can win on the road. Like I said, if I'm betting men, I pick Philadelphia, but I won't be surprised if the Giants can pull it out in a close game.
All right. Sister Leslie, how about you?
I kind of agree with that, but I think because the Giants, it's going to be an upset. I think that the Giants are going to pull it out. I mean, they have the momentum now, in my opinion, and I don't think Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's that healthy. I don't think he's healthy enough. So,
yeah.
and his backup quarterback, I don't have very much faith in him. So I think it might be an upset. I think the Giants might pull it out, even though, again, Philadelphia, they have the best record. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants win.
Deacon Greg.
No way. That's going to happen. Philadelphia, I don't even really think it's going to be. I think Philadelphia are going to win at least by 10 points, maybe even 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts he's healthy. I just seen a report on him today. He's ready. He's not that shoulder's ready. He is not Kirk Cousins, and Phillies fans are going to be fired up for that game, and the home field advantage is going to play a whole lot. I just think Philly is the better team. I mean, offensively and defensively, they're the better team, and I think I'm going with Philadelphia in that game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, like, you don't really know what you're going to get from Philadelphia because they were a solid team last year. Jalen Hurts has played way better than he's played ever before. Their record's obviously amazing. I mean, #1 seed and all that stuff. And but you see that a lot where you have like the team with the best record, they have a bye week, and the team, like Sister Leslie, like you're saying, they get the momentum, and there's just something there. I don't think the Giants don't have the talent. Philadelphia is 100% the better team.
Right.
I'm not going to say they're better coach because I think Daboll is an animal for what he did with what he's doing with Daniel Jones, because that dude was they were going to toss him away, and now they're talking about contract extensions and having the momentum. It's like, and the injury. I think Thibodeau is going to get in there and smack him around a couple of times in that first quarter, and his shoulders, like, he may be feeling good now. Not gonna feel good after Thibodeau jumps on him.
Yep.
And I think they have some. I'm not sure if they have line injuries. I may be getting that mixed up with a different team. I feel like Philadelphia has to win because it's at home. But again, you play a team 3 times against a smart coach. He's going to try to figure some stuff out. But I'm going to go Philadelphia just because I don't think the Giants just don't have the talent to match Philadelphia's talent. And I think that'll kind of catch up to them. This is like their 4th week in a row on the road. I think I'm going to go Philly.
I think to Leslie's point, not trusting the backup Minshew, if he's in the game because Jalen Hurts had to come out because he's hurt, then Giants. I mean, if it gets to that point where you got to have backup quarterback, if the Giants did enough to get, Jalen Hurts out of the game, and to me, he's the X factor, then that X factor is gone. Then it's an even game.
Yeah.
All right, Deacon
Because
Greg,
the fans don't play. I mean, I heard Greg say fans would be going crazy, but they're not on the field. They aren't calling plays. So all that noise just doesn't matter in the playoffs. Championship,
I agree.
They can block out and just play. The fans don't play.
But the 12th man is important. So I agree with I agree with Deacon.
He's talking about the 49er fans. I understand where he's coming from. He's right in that perspective.
At the end of the day, championship teams win on the road. They win anyway.
Exactly. I agree.
All right, Deacon Greg, let's start with you. Cincinnati at Buffalo.
Cincinnati at Buffalo. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Buffalo. Cincinnati is, they're a good team. They had a tough game this week. That was a tough win, and I think Buffalo. With the quarterback, with Daniel Jones playing the way he's playing, I'm going to go with the home team.
Sister Leslie.
I'm going to go with Buffalo because I expected Buffalo to blow Miami out. I really did. To me, that game was way too close. I'm going to go with Buffalo, but it might be a good game.
Brother Bill.
Buffalo, because as good as a quarterback that the quarterback for the Bengals, Joe Burrows has been in the time that he's been there. I was watching him when he was at LSU, and so just from a quarterback talent standpoint, I mean, he's the real deal. Even with that, I just think that Buffalo, the X factor, is going to be the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. But if they're running him around, that Cincinnati defense, the special linebacker is going to be ready for him. So I only pick Buffalo just because I think he's going to be the X factor. But if he turns it over, then Buffalo's going home.
Yeah, and for that reason, I'm going to go with Cincinnati because I think so. They have offensive line injuries, which is bad because we saw a couple years ago when Kansas City had all those offensive line injuries when they played Tampa. That was not an equal game, or it wasn't the game it would have been if they were healthy. And I know that affects them a lot, but Burrow played with a horrible offensive line last year, and Josh Allen's he's got a lot of picks. Like that game against Miami should not have been that close.
Exactly.
And I think that this offense is better than Miami's offense, and I know their defense is better than Miami's defense. I think they're going to go in and I think they're going to sneak it out. It's going to be kind of like the Titans game last year, where they keep it close. It's a little scrappy. It looks like the Bills are going to win, and then Burrow does something with his incredible wide receivers and kind of pulls it out in the end. All right, Sister Leslie, I'm going to start with you on this one. Dallas at San Francisco. Go.
I'm going with Dallas. I have to go with Dallas. But I will say, Dallas is not playing, in my opinion. I've been a fan 50 something years. You should be playing better at this time of the year. And I just think that Dak is making way too many, and the penalties have killed us all season long, heavily penalized. They're going to have to play better. That's all I can say. They've got to watch the penalties, and Dak, of course, the interceptions, and the defense, number one defense. I get it. The 49ers are number one defense, but we're number two defense. And so I think our defense is going to get after little Purdy, and he's not going to be as pretty. I think that they're going to get after him. And to me, I don't think the 49ers have played really strong teams yet with as good a defense as Dallas. So I think, of course, Dallas, I have to go with Dallas, but it's going to be a rough game.
Okay. Brother Bill.
I'll defer to Deacon Greg. I'll go after him.
You know what? I was kind of on the fence, but after listening to Sister Leslie, I'm going to get back over there. I'm going to go with Dallas.
Yes.
But I'm going to disappoint you on this. They're going to stick with their kicker. They're not even going to bring in a kicker this week. They said they don't want to mess with his confidence. They just want to let him have the job and let him and go with that.
You messed with
But you made some good points, and you said they got to play better. If they played the way they played this week, they can't play much better than that. And another point that you made is that the 49ers, everybody is jumping on them, their bandwagon really hard right now. But she made a great point. Who have they played that's really been really top? They barely got by my Raiders. The doggone Seahawks, that was a game. That was a good game up until that strip fumble thing. That's what really turned that game. That was and so if Dallas comes in the way they went in with against, and that's a whole other different story because But I'm gonna. Sister Leslie was so convincing that I'm gonna go with Dallas. But I tell you what, that running game, they got to do better on the run game.
Yes.
Dallas gonna have to run that ball. They
Yes.
can't, they can't depend on Dak to throw 4 touchdowns.
Yep, I agree with that.
All right, Brother Bill, reel him back in.
Well, Dean Greg, I'm disappointed. See, I'm gonna put my Stephen A. Smith on hat now.
Oh.
Start yelling. You can start yelling.
I'm disappointed that as a football connoisseur as yourself, having watched the season all year and you've seen football, that you would let someone's opinion be the deciding factor. If you've watched the game,
can I get a timeout real quick?
No, wait.
Timeout. Let me get one timeout.
No timeout, because I have the football. So you can call timeout. You watch it all year. What do we always say about sports? Regardless of the record of the opponent, everyone's a professional. Now, the reason why the 49ers opponents have the record that they have is one loss against the Niners, and every team that the Niners have played, that they've beaten, they've lost that next week too. So we're not just handing teams a loss, but we're beating them up so bad that they're losing the next week too. That's point number one. Check the stat. Now, you could probably say the same about Dallas. I haven't looked at Dallas' schedule to see what their opponents have done after they played them, because that really doesn't matter to me as a Niner fan. I'm just looking at what I see in the field. If the 49ers play their game, which is 2-1, run the ball and pass the ball, then Niners win.
But he doesn't pass that well. Now, McCaffrey, he's a runner. He's a workhorse. They're going to work him to death. So, but
the 49ers?
Yeah, the 49ers are going to work McCaffrey to death to run the ball. But I'm not so convinced that Purdy can throw as well as he needs to beat Dallas.
He only needs to throw the ball 20 times a game, tops.
Okay.
Because the rest in those passes, he got away with a couple of mistakes in the last game. One should have been picked off. He threw over the middle. I think if I'm the Dallas defensive coordinator, I look at disguising my coverage in the middle, because he throws deep middle, and there's a couple of those where he's been fortunate it wasn't picked off. But with the playmaker, the way I think Shanahan's going to devise plays for him to get it out quickly and just get in the playmaker's hands, because you've got Debo, you've got Kittle, got McCaffrey, Ayuk, Juszczyk. So that's 5 guys he can get the ball in their hands and then let them take care of the rest.
But that's if he can get it off, because look, Michael Parsons, he's coming at you.
But he's only on one side of the field. He's only on one side of the line.
That's all you really need, because he's coming on. He comes out of nowhere everywhere. And then by the time he gets there, his supporting cast is coming too. So
I agree.
I'm just saying.
But if you notice, again, if you watch the 49er games this year, which if you haven't, that's okay, I understand. Like I said, because I haven't been watching all the Dallas games or the Raiders games either. So I knew what the Raiders are going to do even before the game was played. But that's neither here nor there. But as far as the Niners go, if he gets the ball out and just spreads it around, at some point, Shanahan's going to make adjustments for that pressure. And you watch second half of the game, once they bring in when they bring in Elijah Mitchell, you know they're going to be running the ball down the Cowboys' throat. Okay. And if the Cowboys can't control the line of scrimmage, then it's going to be lights out. Because the Niners are just going to control the game and they're going to win. I don't know if it's going to be by more than one touchdown, but I just believe that the style that the Niners play offensively, because you know what you're going to get on defense, the style they play on offense, Purdy doesn't have to be the one to win the game. He just can't lose the game by making mistakes.
I would say, so I would pick the Niners regardless. But I think the Cowboys are coming in at a huge disadvantage for having to have played Monday night. Niners have been off for 2 days. Cowboys are, get home and they had to, the rest and stuff. And I know it's playoff football and I know we're dealing with professionals and we're dealing with tough guys, but 48 hours is a long time. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, it's money, but having that Monday game where you have the opponent playing on Saturday early just completely screws that. I mean, it's like they're playing like a Thursday game now.
Yeah.
And I don't like that they did that. I like that it's benefiting us this week, but I don't care for that format. I think as much as I think it was a benefit for the Cowboys to get rolled the last game of the season, because then they saw all their mistakes and they came back and they played. If that wasn't a perfect game, offense and defense, it was pretty darn close to it. I don't know how much better they could have done. And I think that can be a detriment to this next game instead of it having to be a hard fought battle. Like the Giants had to play really hard to beat the Vikings. And I think that could help that momentum carry over to Philadelphia. And I think the exact opposite could happen with the Cowboys and the lack of rest and the fact that Dak's your quarterback and McCarthy's your coach. I think all those things together don't help.
Yeah.
But I have to give Dak some props because again, like I said, he's played the best I've seen him play really in the last couple of years. His first couple of years, Dak was balling. And then when the mistakes, then the unforced mistakes started cropping up, especially the interceptions. I'm like, wow, what happened? I mean, there was just, for whatever reason, that was just something he did the Jimmy G to us, right? He had that 1-0 play every game. Right.
Yeah.
And so
his use
What didn't help that they got rid of Cooper either. So
right. Exactly.
But it's almost, but the way he was using the tight ends the other night, it was awesome. I mean,
I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah.
Well, I do, because those tight ends, Schultz, he's going to catch the ball. I don't care where and he's big and he's going to make the play every time. So I would rather they use the tight ends than Gallo and, well, CD, he's, he gets a little handsy. His hands don't work sometimes. So, yeah. But Schultz is a for sure thing. Yeah. And there was a new one last night that I had not heard about, but he did pretty good.
Yeah. T.Y. Hilton, between T.Y. Hilton and C.D. Lamb. C.D. Lamb is a deep threat. Hilton is a veteran. Like I said, it's whoever controls the line of scrimmage, I think is going to win the game.
It'll be us, but
the 49ers better be able to run that ball. I'll just say that. If Dallas shuts down that 49er run game, it's going to be a wrap, because that quarterback Purdy is not going to beat him with his arms. And he's a good, he moves in the pocket, but like Leslie says, Dallas, everybody concentrates on the one pass rusher, but those other guys, they come. They got pressure from all sides. And you guys better hope you can run the ball. If you don't run the ball, you're in deep trouble, Bill.
That's true for both teams.
So
again, you have to run the ball.
Not really. Dallas hasn't been running the ball. Dallas has not been running the ball that well.
Not well.
If they can't run the ball against us, which I don't expect, because no running back has had more than 70 yards against us all season. Now, granted, this is playoffs. It's different. Once a team becomes one-dimensional, they're easier to defend.
Well, and there is a stat where when Dak throws over 35 times a game, they lose. So there is that stat there, and I think it's more of a keeping the defense honest kind of a thing. But I can't see Pollard not. I mean, they're going to figure out something. I mean, Zeke, but Pollard's he's an animal back there.
Yeah, Zeke was not effective at all last night. He could have stayed in Dallas.
Zeke's not that effective at all. I'm going to call this. I think that 5 years. This is grim. Within 5 years after Jerry Jones passing away, Dallas is going to win a Super Bowl, because you'll get those dumb contracts out of there. All these stupid contracts that he signs and screws his team. They're going to sign real contracts. The whole Zeke could stay in Cabo and not sign him. Watch, they'll win a title. Be like, we did it for Jerry, and he will never see a title. But okay, so I'm obviously pumped for the weekend. I gave you guys a list of a couple other things we were going to talk about. I want to talk about something that's actually not on the list, because I heard some stuff this week, and this will be the last topic. But so Lamar Jackson, we all know that he had contract discussions and stuff. He cut him off at the beginning of the season. while he's doing the discussions, the idiot Browns signed Deshaun Watson, trade all these picks, signed Deshaun Watson to a guaranteed contract. And then Lamar went, I want a guaranteed contract. And then everything stalled out. And then everything seemed fine. Lamar's doing Lamar. The Baltimore's a strong team, strong organization. And then he had the injury. And then you kind of hear some things where players are like, why isn't he playing? He needs to get out there. And then he didn't go to, and I didn't think too much of it until he didn't go to the game last week. So one, do you guys think Lamar's done in Baltimore? And two, if you do think he's done, where would you like to see him? Sister Leslie, I'll talk with you. Yeah, the Raiders. No kidding. You don't want Stidham?
Well, after his tweet as well, I think he's done in Baltimore. I think he's unhappy. He's unappreciated, and I think that he's going to find a way, or he's done in Baltimore, I think. And where would I like to see him go? I don't know. I mean, he's right there in Commander land. You might want to go to the Commanders.
All right, Deacon Greg, yours is obviously the Raiders, but do you think he's done? Do you think he's done in Baltimore?
I do not think he's done in Baltimore. That's just all just hyperbole and everything like that, that tweet and everything like that. Baltimore would be absolutely crazy to let him get out the door. After they seen what happened, if he was on the field, they win that game. They win that game. The whole organization is built around him. The team is built around him. He needs some help. He needs some top receivers to help him out a little bit more. That's where they better be. They better pay him his money, and then they better go out and get some free agent receivers. But I really don't think they're going to let him out the door. I think that's just, he's just doing that to get him, get under their skin a little bit more.
So you think it's like a negotiation thing?
The negotiation part, because he represents himself, so he has to do something. But yeah, I don't think they're going to let him go out. After seeing that game, they know that they need him.
Well, if anybody should be let go, is that coach Harbaugh. I'm sick of him, but keep going.
Brother Bill, what do you think?
I'm sick of him, but okay, keep going. You didn't ask me that.
The way Harbaugh managed the end of that game from a clock standpoint, they let way too much time run out towards the end of the game to the point where I think the last series, when they didn't call a timeout, they wasted the whole clock, 30 seconds. So that's like almost 4 plays. I just think as a veteran coach that he is, I was just disappointed that he didn't manage the clock better. To your question whether or not Lamar comes back to Baltimore, put it this way: as Deion Sanders in Prime used to say, just calling pay the man.
Pay the man.
If they don't pay him, then they're basically saying that they just want to be irrelevant in the AFC North. It's going to be Cincinnati or even Cleveland, Pittsburgh. I mean, they're gonna. I mean, not to no fault of their backup quarterback. He played well, but I mean, Lamar is the leader of your team. Yeah. When you let your leader go, then you're basically saying that you're just going to tank the season and you're not going to be competitive. So
do you think if he was your quarterback, would you give him the $250 guarantee that he's trying to, or whatever the fully guaranteed contract? You guys would have no problem with that.
I would. I'd give it to him. He does everything.
But you're paying Dak like $45 a year. You cool with that?
Well, I need Dak to do more for that money right now.
but I will say
they didn't ask me. Jerry gave him the money.
Right, which is why they're going to win after Jerry goes.
Right.
So one thing with Lamar, like guaranteed money is the Browns are dummies. Fully guaranteed contract, but they do have issues pulling in wide receivers. Like wide receivers are choosing to go to other places, and I think part of that is because I think Lamar is an amazing football player, maybe not an amazing quarterback. And I think they see the stats and stuff and they go, I need to get the ball. Cause there was one of the number 2 guy on the Giants chose the Giants over Baltimore. And that was the first time I went, oh, maybe there's something with the way wide receivers view Lamar. Like maybe he's better with like short yardage guys, slot guys, tight ends and stuff like that. So maybe it's a put off. I don't think he's gone because I think it'd be insane for a team to have a guy like Lamar and to get rid of him. Whatever his contract is, I don't know. But I think the team that he would fit really, really well in, but it would never happen in a million years, is I think he would be great in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
Because Pittsburgh does an amazing job of drafting wide receivers, streakers, dudes. I mean, and Lamar's got a cannon. So they could streak, and he could be, maybe he's not the most accurate deep ball passer, but he could throw it way up there and way out there, and those guys would go get it. I mean, imagine like the next iteration of Antonio Brown with somebody like Lamar Jackson hucking him the ball. But it would, I mean, obviously Baltimore would have to trade to Pittsburgh, and that would never happen in a million years.
Yeah.
Art Rooney would come out of his grave if they let a division rival like Lamar come to their team.
Yeah. So I can't see. I mean, I'm sure teams are going to call him and ask him, hey, you know, we'll give you for whatever. But unless Baltimore had one of these free agents, like, I can't see them going, you know what, we need Derek Carr, we need Jimmy Garoppolo. I can't see them looking at the people that are available, or like a Tom Brady. I can't see them looking at them going, yeah, we would do better with them than Lamar. Lamar's a one-of-one quarterback. Like there's nobody. I mean, like Vic is the closest comparison, and it's a dude you can't prepare for, and to me, a dude you can't prepare for is worth a lot of money. So
exactly, that's why they should pay him. I mean, all these other quarterbacks got paid, so I think they should pay him his money. And you keep talking about his throwing. His throwing has really improved. Even his accuracy has improved. Down the field has improved.
I agree, but he also came in terrible at passing and accuracy.
But his stats are really good, and he needs a top receiver. What's his name? DeAndre Hopkins. He wants to get out of there. You send him over there. And put them two together.
100%.
And see what happens.
DeAndre Hopkins could make anybody look good. That dude's an animal. And just another line of showing why the Cardinals are dumb. The Cardinals are talking about, I'm hearing rumors that they're going to pick up the Miami coach from 2 years ago that went to Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
I can't think, I'm blanking on his name. I cannot imagine that dude with Kyler Murray on the same team. If he butted heads with Cliff Kingsbury, what's he going to do with the dude that's like no nonsense? Stop messing around, dude. I cannot see that working at all.
Well, if DeAndre Hopkins leaves the Cardinals, then you can just take Arizona. You can just put 6 losses within the division on their schedule every year, because they're going to be at the bottom of the division.
Yep.
Yeah.
Worse than the Rams.
We'll take him in Dallas.
Of course you will, but you can't pay him because you're paying Zeke and Dak. So contracts. Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate your time. Sister Leslie, thank you so much for jumping on and representing the Dallas Cowboys.
And I have to give Leslie some props, because for the Dallas Cowboy fans I've talked to, whenever they mention America's team, I just roll my eyes. So not once did she even mention America's team. You're the most level-headed, unbiased Cowboy fan that I know. I got to give you kudos.
But we are America's team, but this wasn't the setting for me to say all that.
And I will say I have appreciated all your Dak Facebook posts the last week. I have to say I'm enjoying these a lot.
Well, you know what? I started laughing because I didn't know anybody read those. when I saw you like or something, because I'm a Cowboy fan, but I'm a realist too, and so it's more of when they ask a question, is Dak? No. I got to tell the truth. Yeah. Honesty is good. You're not delusional, which is nice. But so we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much, and have a good weekend. And it's gonna be an awesome weekend. Good luck, y'all. Go Cowboys. Go Niners. Go Cowboys.